Hey there, welcome back to Heart and Soul TV. Now today we're tackling a situation almost everyone goes through.
We're talking extramarital affairs, people.
I think this is a mistake.
There's no such thing as a mistake. There's what you do and what you don't do.
I want you to follow my wife.
What if I told you I found nothing?
I want to know.
Woo! Well, when we think of cheaters, men get the bad rep most times, right? But the truth is that both sexes are equally as guilty. Recent stats show 60% of men, or not equally, excuse me. Recent stats show that 60% of men and 40% of women have had affairs. And that's just one of the topics that are in Heart and Souls magazine's recent cover issue. So we know, we cover all kinds of things, even the drama, just saying. Yeah, but our favorite nationally certified counselor and host of our sister show, Emotional Mojo, Jada Jackson, is here to help us talk through this hot mess situation. Let's just get right into it. What are some signs that we can look at if he's cheating?
Well, or she.
Or she, okay. Or she. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Or she. But you know what? The reality is it's almost 50-50. And we really kind of think that, oh, it's just the men that are doing, but women are sneaky. They are so
We're smarter.
sneaky. And smart.
Definitely
and
better
I'm
at it.
almost inclined to believe that they're just not getting caught. Okay, so there may be some balance here, but this is what you should do if you catch your spouse cheating. Number one, you definitely want to confront.
Like cheater style or like...
Not cheater
not
style,
cheater
exactly. Thank you. Morgan, I don't want to come get you out of jail.
No,
So
please help.
You want to confront in a non-threatening way. You want to make sure that, it's not you going for broke and then you end up in jail. You want to make sure that you do it non-threatening.
So this needs to be like premeditated, like you found out the information, you came down for a second, you had your come to Jesus, and then you confront. Not
And
like
you create
when
a
you find
plan,
out.
I'm assuming,
Correct.
before you go in and say,
And I think that what's really important is you've probably already heard this. Go to a restaurant, sit in the middle of a restaurant, and make sure that, you're not getting explosive. You can have a nice, calm conversation. I always say never do it in the bed. Never do it in the bedroom. Never have
Should we do it?
What are you talking about, Jada?
Where then should we do it?
What is this all about here? So you want to have the conversation, not in the bedroom, not in the kitchen. Definitely never argue in the kitchen. I don't know if you know that, but that's
Well,
kind
because
of
there's knives and whatnot.
and weapons and things like that. So
Yes, plates.
and here again, secondly, you want to decide, are you going to stay or are you going to go? Right? So you're going to confront and then you're going to decide, make a decision. Now, a lot of times we don't know what the backstories are.
Right, which
Now,
is why
if
you
it's
confront before
domestic-
making the decision.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and if it's domestic violence situation, of course you want to get out of there. However, maybe something happened in your marriage.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe
So if something
potential for
happened,
that.
so if you decide to stay, this is what I think is very important for you to do. You have to understand what went wrong in your marriage. So the next step is to take action.
Okay.
If you're gonna stay, you need to get therapy ASAP.
Because you're going to need it.
Call a
That does
counselor.
not mean your mom and your girlfriend.
You want to get professional help.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're going to go, then of course you're going to want to call an attorney. You want to make sure that you do it the safe way because we never really know what the situation is. So,
Yeah, you both change in a situation like that. You don't know what the other person's capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we found some interesting findings in a book called The Truth About Cheating by Gary Newman, which focuses on male cheaters. So we're going to talk through some of these too.
Okay.
See what you guys think. Okay, 48% of men rated emotional dissatisfaction as the primary reason they cheated. 8% only said that it was for sexual dissatisfaction and their main factor for infidelity.
Even though we think it's the opposite, right?
Because when men cheat, you're like, oh, she was pretty, but it's deeper than that.
Right.
It is, and believe it or not, men are just as emotional and they have needs the same way that we do. They want to be validated, they want to be affirmed, they want to have that connectedness. And when they don't, they seek it from other places. So yeah, that's dead on.
So if you don't stroke, there you go, they'll
stroke the ego.
Yeah.
Stroke the ego.
Stroke it. 66% of cheating men report feeling guilt during the affair, not after, but while they do it.
Of course.
Of course, but it doesn't make a difference.
I know. Can
You better feel guilty.
I'm
otherwise-
surprised that they feel it during. I could see like an aftershock, but while you're doing it, I guess that's shocking to me.
Well, I mean, if you're doing something wrong, you're always going to know that you're doing something wrong. So it's kind of like you have to feel that guilt. Otherwise, it's like you're kind of psycho, or you know, you're
You have
crazy.
some problem.
Yeah, and I think the key here is too as well, if they're cheating, are they a serial cheater? Is it just a one-night stand? What does this
Because
really
serial
look
cheaters,
like?
I guess you wouldn't feel guilty
You
after.
would not,
No.
correct. That's
Yeah.
why I said that.
Makes
So,
sense.
Mark.
I can, what? I'm learning, boo. Only 12% of cheating men said their mistress was more physically attractive than their wife, which again proves that,
That
it's
is
more emotional, right?
Correct. Correct.
So I guess we should feel better when she looks like Humpty Dumpty
Well, this is kind of
compared
like
to yourself. You
when
know, y'all know what I mean.
Halle Berry was cheated on. Everybody was like, "What? She's
Yeah.
like the
How could
most
you cheat
yeah.
on Halle Berry?
Right. But it was emotional. It wasn't necessarily the physical part.
Yeah, and in addition to that, you look at the emotional component to it, but then you're also looking at, is it a sex addiction? So then that brings
Wasn't that his
another
issue, Eric Benet's thing?
component into play.
I'm not
yeah.
calling him out, I'm just repeating. And 73% of men got to know the other woman for a month before they actually
Oh,
went
wow.
through with the cheating, which means that you
They
probably
set
have
it
some
up
time
and
to
they-
see the signs before he actually goes through with it.
Right. And again, there's that emotional connection there, and you know, you're being fed, you're being given. He's probably saying, "You're awful. I mean, you're wonderful, not awful." My wife says I'm awful, so yeah.
Oh, bother. Okay,
Ooh,
well,
that's not
77%
good.
of cheating men have a good friend who cheated, and so hanging around them, you know, birds
Bad
of a feather,
influences.
they do flock together. So if you don't like your men's friends, that's probably
There's a reason
telltale
why.
sign. Yeah. 95% of affairs are short-lived when, you know, they're on the side temporarily, whatever. 5% result in marriage, but 75% of those marriages end in divorce.
Yes.
So, bam.
There
Wow.
you
Just
go.
a heads up, if you want to get with a married man, it's not going to last very long.
Really interesting stats right there.
Completely. And it's even better because Jada helped us talk about
There
it.
you
No,
go.
thank you for that insight.